What's going on, YouTube? Welcome back to the Thomas Gallery, and today I want to talk about art in news. Now, what I mean by that is how art is used to tell the news, in other words. And a lot of times used for propaganda. I'll explain. As many of you know, human beings are very visual creatures. I would say we're predominantly visual. Things don't really impact us greatly until we actually can see the things that we hear about. Well, in this case, the news. Sorry, get some water. The news. Pretty much, when we turn on the channel, or back in the ancient times when they had, they would carve things on stone, or they would do, paintings of events. You were telling the news, essentially. You were relaying information about the events of the society at that particular time. Okay? Now, today, not so much. Will you see a painting depicting the war going on or some kind of economic crisis going on? You don't really see that today because you have, the invention of electricity and, television and internet and things of that nature. You don't really have a need for paintings. But there was a time where you would get your news based off a carving or based off of a scroll that would tell the people what was going on. And you had your town criers who were pretty much the ones screaming out the news, extra, read all about it. Those people, the town criers, they were the ones giving the news of the day. And then you would have visual images, because depending on the society, a lot of the societies were illiterate, meaning they could not read or write. So you had somebody who can give them a visual of what was going on, since they couldn't read it, but you could see it. That was the whole purpose of symbols. Symbols were made a lot of the times because the people couldn't read. But you can understand symbols. You can understand, big circle in the sky. What's that? Sun. You understand that. You understand images. You understand pictures. Paintings, portraits. You get that part because it don't require words. You just see it and you make an interpretation of that. So, you may have a carving on the walls of Egypt somewhere that would give the news of that particular day during that time. It may have been thousands of years ago, but that carving on the wall would tell you at this particular time, this particular king, this particular event went on, and the people were doing this at the time, and the king was doing this, and there was a battle here, and this kingdom won. That was news. That was telling the people when they walked by the walls, hey, this is the spot where such and such happened. Like if you were to go to Dallas, where the site where President John F. Kennedy was shot, there's a spot on the street that tell you where he was killed. That's the same thing if you were to go, like I said, to the walls of Egypt, and you would see the scene of a great battle, or you would see a painting in Japan of a warlord winning a battle somewhere, over there, and it would tell you. It would depict how bloody it was. It would depict how many soldiers were fighting. It would depict who won, or at least it would depict what you wanted to say, because a lot of news is also propaganda. A lot of news isn't objective. It has a particular point of view that it wants to get across, and usually when you're telling the news, you want to tell both. So they would say it's three sides to the story. Is his story, and then there's the truth. Well, a lot of times the news you don't get that. You get one side that fits whatever you want to convey. So what you would do is you'll have art, the art of that particular day, talk about that particular side of the story. Now, if you were to go to the other parts of the world where that story has some connection, they may give you a different story about that. Okay, and the best way to do it is to give a visual image, paint a portrait. Carve something on the wall, things of that nature, to get across your point, so you can tell the people either your point of view or just what happened in general. That is the news. So art is very, very important. Art is subtle when it comes to news, because now, like I said, nowadays you have people, you speak about the news. You don't really have to show a painting that gives the news or show a carving that gives the news. You still can, but this day and age, you really don't need to. But there was a time where the image was more important than the word, because you couldn't just say certain things, but if you can show, if you can give a description of it, if you could show how bloody it was through a painting, then the impact is greater. So for a long period of time, the painter, the person doing the carving, they were the news. You couldn't get your story across if you didn't have a painting. You couldn't tell a story about how great a king or queen was without a painting. So hope that makes sense to any of you. Hope you enjoy it. I will catch you all later. Peace.